If the actor who plays the dad in this film is not a long-distance relative of Josh Brolin, I will eat my shoe. Paranormal Activity 4. Okay, so the plot of Paranormal Activity 4 is set after the events of Paranormal Activity 2, where Katie stole the child and has now moved in across the road from a family, and this is about the family recording some paranormal events in their house linked to Katie and the child. Now, if you're a fan of the series and you're really looking forward to this film, or you've seen this film and you really loved it, I would recommend just clicking the escape button now, or just go, because you're not going to like my opinion. If you're staying, I'm guessing that you're interested, or you're at least going to be open-minded about this, because this film's terrible. I'm sorry. I really... just no. Now, I feel like its main problem is it feels like a big step back for the series. I mean, Paranormal Activity 3 for me was my favourite of the whole of the series so far. I think it managed to, really have some inventive scares and inventive camera angles, and it actually, managed to create some tension and suspense. And the first one as well, that one's a really interesting and great little independent horror film. But to me, this felt more like the second film, which I really didn't like at all, which was just this slow, brooding film that just went nowhere, and it was just really boring. I mean, we have this, big paranormal entity, this supernatural being, and what does it do? It moves chairs, it'll move a knife, it'll open a door. That's what annoys me. It's these big supernatural ghost entities, and they still have to open doors. Literally, all this thing, it's just the Invisible Man. That is what these films seem to be going to now. The Invisible Man. Now, I understand that's not what the entity is, but at times that's what it just feels like. It just feels like there's some invisible man just moving chairs, opening doors, and it just doesn't work. I think a large portion of this film is just things being moved. It's not really threatening or very atmospheric. Unlike Sinister, which came out a couple of weeks ago, which is a really, really dark and atmospheric film. Even adding the child into the mix, it really doesn't add much to it, because it's not really used to its full advantage. It's never really creepy. It's just kind of there, and you never really feel like there's any threatening presence, and it's like a comedy without laughs. This felt like a horror film without scares. I didn't jump once, which is really surprising, since at least once in all of the past 3 I've jumped. And this one, this is the first one I've actually seen in the theatre, so I thought, okay, this will be a really intense experience with an audience full of people loving it as well. I didn't jump. There was no audience reaction at all. The only audience reaction I had was the film finished, no word of a lie, 2 rows up from me, some guy got up and went, well, that was bullshit. And you know what, I agree. I mean, there's one sequence where it's a really big homage to The Shining, and if you're going to do a homage to The Shining, you've got to be at the top of your game on that film, and it did not earn the right at all to do that, and it felt, you just felt, no, you were just looking at the screen like, no, just leave. One thing, this is a criticism, but it is actually an incentive to go see the film. It's hilarious. I mean, it is. I laughed during this film more times than I did in most comedies. Most of it was not intentional. I mean, I was not the only one laughing. There was a good majority of the cinema audience in there laughing as well. And I really feel bad about bashing on this film, because the third one is so... It's just... There's something about the third one I love, and I really thought that they would step the game up with this. They just haven't. One other bad point as well is all these questions you had from Paranormal Activity 2, like, why did she steal the child? And, this world that you're brought into, and all this mystery. None of it's answered again. It's just another film, dragging it out, and you just feel like, what was the point? What was the point? However, I do think the film manages to capture some really great character moments. There's a whole sort of relationship between the parents, like they're not quite working as a couple, and it felt quite realistic and natural. But unfortunately, that's never expanded on or goes anywhere. It just feels like it's to try and make you sympathise for the characters more, which it did work. But I would have loved to have seen more of this. In fact, for quite a large majority of the film, I was thinking in my head, how great would it be if there was a sort of found footage film of a dysfunctional family? Like a child is recording this family feud that's going on. I thought that would be not necessarily a full-length film, but for a short film, I think that'd be a really interesting idea. So overall, I'm going to give Paranormal Activity 4 a 1.5 out of 5. It's not scary. It's a big step back for the series. It's just so disappointing. 'Cause I went in wanting to be scared. I was like, come on, give me something, and I got nothing. Go see Sinister, or I'm going to upload a video next week of some really good horror titles. So just enjoy other films this Halloween. Don't use your money to go see this blatant cash grab. And as usual, if you like this review, you can just click subscribe and you can see more.